Good morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Taylor Stephenson with 13 News Now. Here's your Tropics update as of Saturday, October 5th at 8 a.m. And the Hurricane Center just upped the chances for possible tropical development in the Gulf of Mexico. Now the potential for a tropical depression to form is likely by today or tomorrow. The chance for development over the next 2 days is now up to 70%, 90% within the next week. But it is still a lot of activity that is going on in the tropics outside of the Gulf of Mexico. We're tracking major Hurricane Kirk and Hurricane Leslie, both out in parts of the Atlantic. Good news for us is that we shouldn't see any direct impacts from either system. We're also going to track a tropical wave set to emerge off of the African coast by early next week. So here's the latest on Hurricane Kirk. As of 5 a.m. on your Saturday morning, it's still a major hurricane, but much weaker than it was earlier this week. Winds down to sustained up to 125 miles per hour, gusts up to 155. It's going to make its way through parts of the extreme northern Atlantic before moving closer to Europe. For us, though, because this is such a large system, we'll see the swells of this system, which means that we will have moderate to high rip current risk apart and along parts of the middle to southern Atlantic coasts. So be careful if you're heading to the beaches this weekend. And here's that rip current risk for the mid-Atlantic. Virginia Beach, we have that moderate rip current risk in place, but for most of the Outer Banks, we are talking a high rip current risk. In these conditions, make sure that you are staying near somebody. If you head out to the waters this weekend, you wear a life vest if you are not the greatest swimmer, or you stay in sight of a lifeguard at all times. It's always best in these conditions to use the buddy system. Now let's talk about Hurricane Leslie. Right on the heels of Hurricane Kirk. Right now, a hurricane with sustained winds of 80 miles per hour, gust up to 100 miles per hour, just making its way unscathed through the waters of the Atlantic. Now, forecast to maintain that Cat 1 strength from now through parts into the middle of the work week. So we'll watch Leslie as it continues to trek through the Atlantic, but there's no threat to land at this point. Now, going back to that system that is out in the Gulf of Mexico, again, a high chance of development over the next couple of days. The Hurricane Center believes this area of development in the extreme western Gulf of Mexico has the potential of becoming a tropical depression by Saturday or Sunday. So as you see over the past 12 hours, much better organized now that it's off of the Mexican coast. Forecast to make its way through the entire parts of the Gulf of Mexico before impacting Florida during the middle of the work week. Here are the spaghetti plots for Invest 92L. And it brings this system through either parts of central Florida or southern Florida by Wednesday during lunchtime. So regardless of development, though, we could see some pretty substantial rainfall, anywhere from about 2 to possibly 4, maybe even isolated 6 inches of rain as this system moves through. Now, this is not the same system that will roll through a couple days before. That's one low pressure area. This is the second one behind it that's forecast to become a tropical depression again this weekend. Now, this is what the American and European models say about this system, bringing this as potentially a Cat 1 hurricane. A lot of the models suggest that we could reach hurricane strength with this system before it makes landfall in Florida. But we are talking the potential for some tropical storm force winds plus heavy rainfall and high swells as this system rolls through Florida, exiting by the end of the work week. So we're keeping a close eye out for this system. Again, it does not have a name. Regardless of this name, the impacts remain the same. Heavy rainfall, high waves, high rip current risk, and the possibility for some potential severe weather. If this system does get the name, though, it will get the name Milton. So we are keeping an eye out for this as we've been through a through now L. So Milton, the next name on the list. We will always keep an eye out for the latest updates in the tropics here on 13 News Now. For 13 News Now, I'm meteorologist Taylor Stephenson.